Let's go over potential spoilers for Star Wars Episode 9. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, Episode 9 is no easy task. In fact, it's a very important task that was handed down for J.J. Abrams to complete for Disney and Lucasfilm to satisfy the fans around the world. And this is going to be a very difficult thing, I feel, to wrap up the entire sequel trilogy, or the entire Skywalker saga at that. It's been said that JJ will be using Episode 9 as a film, as a tool in a sense, to actually combine all 9 movies into one spectacular movie. And that to me sounds like it's going to be a very involved job for J.J. Abrams to do. So looking at everything that has been happening, I wanted to go over some potential spoilers that come from the site thesun.co.uk. If you guys would like to go ahead and check out that story, it will be linked below in the description. Do take this with a grain of salt, but it is indeed suggesting that we actually have the Jedi Master returning, Obi Wan Kenobi, in Star Wars Episode 9. Now, in case you guys didn't know about this, J.J. Abrams had Ewan Mcgregor step in The Force Awakens as a voice. I'll get to that later. Now, this is what the article has to say. Now, Ewan McGregor will actually return to the Star Wars franchise for the sequel trilogy finale. Ewan will secretly film for the next Star Wars movie. Disney have been mulling over a standalone film for Obi-Wan. There have been concerns about getting the story right. It goes on to state, he will film scenes for the finale of the sequel trilogy directed by J.J. Abrams, sources in Los Angeles said. So, the thing that really raises a ton of questions for me is exactly why would Ewan McGregor be the Obi-Wan Kenobi character in Episode 9, at least if it's going to be a visual thing, right? If it's going to be a visual Obi-Wan Kenobi Force Ghost, why would they choose Ewan McGregor over, let's say, I don't know, a CGI Alec Guinness? Now, the first pointer that I do want to go up is that it does fit right in with J.J. Abrams wanting to implement prequel trilogy continuity. Now, if you look at The Force Awakens, alright, J.J. Abrams directed that movie, we do indeed hear Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice talking to Rey when he says, "These are your first steps." And when you hear him say Rey, that's actually Sir Alec Guinness. They actually mixed the words around from, I think it was A New Hope, where he says, "Don't be afraid." But they chopped up the word afraid and just used Rey, like that. So, what I think is going to happen is that they could very well, quite possibly, implement the Ewan McGregor side of Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 9. Perhaps Rey is indeed a descendant. Now, yes, the parents are nobodies in The Last Jedi, as Rian Johnson set up, but there is one big pointer that I do want to bring up, and I have brought this up lightly in the past, couple of videos that I have done, is, well, maybe the parents are nobodies. But what about the grandparents? I don't know if anybody has ever thought about that. What about the grandparents of Rey, right? It's an interesting thought for sure. Now, Ewan will be free from July to the beginning of fall before he begins filming his next movie, Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining, which I'm honestly very hyped up for. But looking at that, guys, he does have a lot of free time. He does have a lot of, time on his hands to do a cameo of sorts for the final film of the sequel trilogy. Now, the biggest question of all, will he only be a voice or actually appear on the big screen? Now, if they're bringing in Ewan McGregor, it sounds like it could go either way. And I think that the more, likely scenario, if they really wanted to play it safe, is that if they wanted to do this, they could very well have him step in as a voice and perhaps maybe try to imitate Sir Alec Guinness, but I'm not quite sure. Why would they bring in Ewan McGregor for the final film of this movie and give him such an important, element in the plot and not have him show? So, it's an interesting question if this actually is, to be in the Episode 9 movie. Now, could we see this dynamic where both Kylo and Rey could have grandfather role models? Let's say that Rey is indeed connected to Kenobi, and that Kenobi is indeed her grandfather. How interesting would it be if you had that dynamic where Kylo Ren looks up to his grandfather, Darth Vader, who was once Anakin Skywalker, and then Rey eventually looks up to her grandfather, who is, of course, Obi Wan Kenobi. That would be an interesting touch when it comes to these two characters and how they have something in common. Now, there's definitely a reason as to why JJ had Ewan in The Force Awakens. I don't think he threw him in there for no reason at all. You know, let that be at, you know, of course, for the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi overall. Why would JJ have Ewan McGregor come in on his motorcycle into the studio? Yes, that's actually what happened. Ewan came in on his motorcycle, did a quick thing in a couple of hours. He did a couple of lines for The Force Awakens, and that was that. He left. So he can certainly do at least a voiceover sequence in Star Wars Episode 9. Now, we do know that a couple of weeks ago we went over this concept art descriptions, I should say, where it was all about Episode 9 that had a Jedi in robes appearing in front of a girl, which appeared to be a Force ghost, widely assumed to be Luke Skywalker, but who knows, maybe it's Obi Wan Kenobi for all we know. Possibly. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this whole entire thing. How would you feel if they decided to have Ewan McGregor on the big screen as Obi Wan Kenobi's Force ghost? Do you think that would be a major, disservice to Sir Alec Guinness? Do you think that would be a horrible thing to do? I feel that if they are bringing in Ewan McGregor, the more likely scenario here is that they would just use him as a voice, and then if they really wanted to, they could CGI Sir Alec Guinness to show up. That's quite a possibility. I mean, if you look at Grand Moff Tarkin, they did it with him, and they could do it with other characters as well. Well, why not? Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.